All right, welcome to another episode of Tab Member Spotlight. Today's Tab member is Mackenzie Hanes. Mackenzie, welcome to the show. Let me read your bio here. Mackenzie, originally from Mayfield, Kentucky, has been making a significant impact on Central Kentucky's tech ecosystem as the executive director of the Tech Association of the Bluegrass. She's at the forefront of connecting and empowering tech talent and companies. Mackenzie also leads Awesome Inc. U, providing experiential computer science education and career training. She's pursuing her Ph.D. in higher education leadership and organizational development from the University of Louisville and co-founded the Basement Rickhouse, a bourbon education company with her husband, Logan. Mackenzie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, today we're here to talk about TAB, the Technology Association of the Bluegrass. Now, you're the executive director of TAB. I'm going to flash the website up there for the audience here. That's tabky.org. Tabky.org. Mackenzie, explain it to me like a fifth grader. What is TAB all about?
Yeah, so great question. Thank you again for having me today and having this opportunity for our members to have this outlet. So TAB, the Tech Association of the Bluegrass, our whole role is to create a community of professionals and those who are wishing to join our industry to provide a place for them to learn, grow, increase their professionalism, find a place where they can find like-minded individuals so that they can maybe tackle some of those common issues and common problems that are happening in our industry and continue to move forward with that. So really, if you think about it, it's a place for connection where an ecosystem can build, grow, and develop where it needs to go.
Build, grow, and develop where it needs to go. I like that. So, I mean, I can tell you that having started a couple of businesses, it can be awfully lonely at the top. And even if you're just a one-person show, there's nobody that tells you, hey, you're doing the right thing. And so it's nice to connect with other folks. I have an old mentor of mine always said to me, everything healthy seeks to integrate to a larger whole, right? Mm-hmm. It's the things that are not healthy. Well, it's the things that aren't maturing, right? Everything that's mature is trying to connect to a greater whole. I think that's very cool. So you guys are kind of in your infancy though. How old is TAB?
Yeah. So one of the really good things about this was not just something that we're like, hey, we're going to create an association and then find out why. What really happened is that professionals in the area were saying, we really need connection. We really need somewhere where we can grow and develop. We need somewhere that we can go and ask questions. And so this actually started back in 2018. And that's when the first group started getting together, and they worked together with Commerce Lex and started having some roundtables and started identifying some areas that they wanted some help with. Fast forward a little bit, the pandemic happened and everybody kind of went to this place where they needed to protect and take care of their own homes. And so as that was kind of shifting a little bit and the professionals were realizing, oh man, instead of pulling back, we should have leaned in a little bit more. So people came back together in 2022, again, with the help of Commerce Lex. And we started having those roundtables and identifying what are our needs now? What's going on in our industry now that we need? And as we continue to have meetings throughout that the rest of 22, 23, we realized that it's time to really professionalize this association and take it to the next level. And so that happened. So I would say kind of sort of 2018, but really 22 is what got the ball rolling. And then 2024 is when we launched our membership portal.
No, I think that all of us went through that COVID period. The first couple of years was kind of like, oh, I get to work from home. And there was some trepidation, right? There was some anxiety around that time. But I also I think that, you know, I've worked at some large organizations, Lockheed being one of them, Bell being one of them, the U.S. Air Force being one of them. And I think that we all went through this a couple of years where we're like, oh, let's just figure this out. But I think we are all seeking that connection. And so I'm going to kind of nudge up here to the next one. You've already kind of started talking about this. The world needs this because we need to connect. And not only do we need to connect, we need folks that are experienced to begin sharing that wisdom and knowledge to the next generation of leaders. And I think that that's fantastic that we're doing that here in Central Kentucky. So talk to me a little bit about your board. I mean, this is not just some folks that said we should start this. I mean, the board members is a pretty packed list.
Yes, it is. So we have a team of 11 board members, and they cover so many different areas of our industry. When you look at the history and the DNA of Lexington and the tech industry, it starts at IBM, really.
Yeah.
And so we have a couple former IBMers that are engaged with our organization. And I don't think any tech organization in Lexington exists without some kind of impact. If you look back, kind of trail back into how they started,
Yeah.
IBM's probably there somewhere. And so we have that. Alltech is one of the large organizations in our community. Rubicon is another one. And so those are some of those higher level big names that you know. But we also have organizations like Covetrus, who came into our area because we had some really thriving business here. And so Covetrus bought some of the local organizations, and they're staying involved with us too. We also have some smaller organizations that are leadership focused and tech focused. We have software development companies. We have education. We have KCTCS. We have University of Kentucky, and we have the Fayette County school system. So we're really wanting to make sure that we are encompassing as many different inputs and outputs as possible. And we found the professionals who are willing to dive in and put that effort into that, which is super great.
I love that. And that runs into our next question here, which is why Central Kentucky? I know that some people have begun to say that the Lexington, the Bluegrass region is the next Austin, right? We have a lot of energy here. I'm super excited to be a part of it. The rhythm of life here is super fun. And we have an amazing amount of talent, even though it's not always highlighted.
Right.
What is your favorite part of living in Central Kentucky? And why do you think that Central Kentucky is probably going to be the next Austin?
Oh yeah. So what people who have been in Austin and been here said is we still feel like what Austin used to.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really good that we have Austin to look at, and we have Boulder, Colorado, which those were the other two locations that IBM put hubs the same time they put one in Lexington. We get to see those other cities and see their wins, and we also see the struggles that they've had. And so I think what I love about Central Kentucky is that I can jump in my car or I can jump on my bike and I can get to nature really quickly. And I think that is something that is critical to Central Kentucky that we're going to make sure that we are maintaining. And that's one of the best things about why tech in Central Kentucky is because we don't use a ton of space. You can stick us anywhere and we're able to thrive, we're able to connect, which is pretty great. We have some really great companies that are really thinking about the forefront of how we're using energy here in Central Kentucky as well. And that's going to be really important as we're looking at the future of AI and LLMs and how we are going to be sustainable as we go forward working with these different technologies. So we already have those people here. We already have that technology. We already have those conversations here. We also still have the beautiful parks and recreation. We have community, which is really great. And that's one of the things that we're continuing to build here in Central Kentucky. We have a history of hospitality, of just who we are. And what we've noticed is that anytime we can get somebody to come here to the Bluegrass, they get it. They get who I want to be. So there's something just in the water. We already know that. But there's definitely something here in Central Kentucky that attracts people and brings them here. And also, I kind of think about that really famous quote from Happy Chandler. So he is one of our big political names in the history of Kentucky. And he said that every Kentuckian is either thinking about coming home or already on their way home.
Yeah,
and one of the things, look at you, right? You're one of them. I'm one of them. So I think that it's something that is unique to here and unique to us in Central Kentucky. And I think those foundations are what's going to make us a really great place to continue to grow our tech presence and still be mindful and maintain the nature and the community that makes us who we are.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. As you said that I also left and I came back. I spent some time down in Fort Worth. I got a bunch of patents, learned a lot of skills, and I brought them back. And that's a very common story, actually. There's a lot of latent talent in this area, and we'll call it the Bluegrass Basin, right? So there's Lexington's kind of the hub of that, and there's 9 counties that are surrounding that. And really, all the 9 counties have begun. They've literally started a coalition to bring that to town. So if you live in somewhere like LA or San Francisco, it's a 1.5, 2 hour commute to get to work. course, hybrid work has changed that a little bit, but in the Bluegrass area, you can get 2 counties away in 30, 40 minutes, right?
Right.
So it's still kind of it's a lush, open area. There's plenty of space for building facilities. There's a lot of business parks that the cities in that Bluegrass Basin are putting together. And then the housing is still very, very affordable and fun and close, both to nature and to work. So it's a great place to start a business. I'm excited about it. I'm ecstatic about Tab, because Tab allows us to connect the technology that's working here and also broadcast that to a larger audience.
Yes.
So speaking of Tab,
Yeah.
tell me your favorite customer story about Tab. Why is it that you get passionate? You can change the names to protect the guilty, of course.
Okay.
But tell me one of your favorite stories about what Tab has already begun to do in the region.
Yeah, I love it. So some of our major players here in Central Kentucky have started as smaller organizations. We have a great startup scene here in Central Kentucky, tons of small businesses who are very high growth focused and have that ability. And so I'll give my example. So I've got ABC Company, and ABC Company has been really involved from the very beginning. And they were at that point of winning some awards and getting some huge RFPs in and getting a ton of money in, and they were ready to really kind of make that next step.
Yeah.
And they were ready. They were pumped. And what they were struggling with is that they needed those structures to be in place to help them accelerate and to help them go to the next level. And they felt that they were hitting their ceiling. They knew that they had the potential. They knew that the team they had, they knew the connections that they had could propel them to go further. But they, because of their processes, just kept hitting a wall. And so they brought that issue into one of our meetups, and they said, you know what, like, we're going to be vulnerable here. This is how we've always done business, and we know it's not the best way to go forward. What do we do? And from their time and their vulnerability coming into one of our sessions and saying, this is what I need. This is what I need to go forward with. We had, luckily, somebody else in the room that said, hey, we had that too. And this is what we did. We implemented the EOS system, and that radically changed our company. That radically changed our profits. That radically changed everything that we're doing now. And that ceiling that we were feeling is way high up there now. And we can't wait to hit the next one. And so that was one of my favorite stories. And so those two individuals got connected. And now we are ABC Company. Let's see, they're about 8 months into implementing the EOS system, and everything is different.
Yeah. I know that I have a couple of friends that actually run EOS, like they're implementers for EOS. It's a fantastic system.
Yep.
And I love that. This is why tech associations, that we started the show, and I kind of made the side comment that everything that's healthy seeks to integrate to a larger whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need that advice from our friends, from our contemporaries, from people that are slightly ahead of us on the path, maybe a little bit more ahead of us on the path. And
Right.
then the solutions are pretty answered. And
Oh, yeah.
man, I love that. I love that. So speaking of which, what are some upcoming trends you see in the technology field, especially those that are affecting the companies here in Central Kentucky?
Yeah. Just want to throw all the letters out, right?
Yeah.
I think we know, right? I think
Yeah.
we know it's AI. I think we know it's large language
Yeah.
models. And I think we know that it's thinking about how we're going to sustain it,
Yeah.
and what needs to happen with it. So those are issues. We're organizing a CIO roundtable right now. And when we asked, what do you all want to talk about? That was it. That's what they want to talk about. They want to talk about that AI, how they're integrating it, how their teams are integrating it, how to be responsible with it, how to ensure equity in it. And so that's a big area of conversation. And on the positive, excited for it, as well as concern for it as well. One of the things that we did to go on and get the conversation started is there's a group of people in town right now that are really focused on developing AI. And so they just launched a meetup. So they had a meeting a couple weeks ago, actually. And now they are at about 40-ish individuals who
Mhm.
are regular attendees and excited about that work. So that's an area that we know is big. And so we are pouring into supporting those individuals that want to keep leading a conversation there. Another area that we see is really big right now is cybersecurity. And so we have one of our board members owns a cybersecurity company, which is really great to work with. And they are seeing more and more attacks, and they're having more and more conversations about how to keep people safe and be aware. And so we're seeing that as well. So I think that when we're looking at the top trends, I think those are the ones that are getting the most attention right now. And then I think one that's kind of in the undercurrent is thinking through for the small businesses that are prevalent here in Central Kentucky is sustainability and finding a way to grow responsibly.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
No, I think it's very cool. And I think that, so let me ask a question about tech. So you're the Tech Association of the Bluegrass. Is
Mhm.
that just computer stuff, or what other tech associations or tech members do you all have in
Oh,
that
yeah.
area?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, so one of the things that, so I went to the biotech meetup a couple of days ago, and I've gone to the ag tech meetup. And what we're trying to do here for TAB is stay tech agnostic. So whatever vertical you are in technology, you can find a place here. So whether you are working on developing software that's going to go in a drone that's going to take care of the plants here in Central Kentucky, you can have support here. Whether
Yep.
you are in sales and you are one of the individuals that it's a road warrior out there selling your product, you have a home here.
Yep.
Our goal, no matter if you are a one-person shop or you're a large multi-state organization, you're here and you belong in the space here with us. So our goal is to provide support and connection on all of those levels. And we have three main areas that we really lean into. We have three main committees where individuals can pour in their time and their effort, as well as make a difference in Central Kentucky. And so that's in our employment committee, where we're focused on how to employ, how to get employees, how to make Central Kentucky easier for remote companies to hire digital natives here. Those are all areas there, as well as connecting the companies so that they can share that talent. We also have an education committee, and our goal is to increase the pipeline and pour in resources into our school systems so that those students have the chance equitably to find a role in tech. And so we're pouring into that. So we have a K-12 system where we're working with Fayette County right now, and then we'll be working with all of the area districts very soon. And then we're moving all the way up the pipeline, working with KCTCS and looking at updating their cyber curriculum, and looking at UK and how can we ensure that we're not having brain drain when they attract these amazing students to Central Kentucky. We don't want them to leave. We want them to know that they have a home here and they can make a great wage living here in Central Kentucky. And then last, we have engage. And so we think it's really important that as we're building this ecosystem that we make those connections. And so that's where people can engage and come to meetups and come to the conference and work together on projects. And so we see these three areas as our main focus for the Tech Association of the Bluegrass. That's really going to help move everything forward here.
Yeah, that's a lot. For those that are that are listening to that and said, wow, that seems overwhelming, maybe even. I want you to go and visit tabky.org. It's an amazing website. It really breaks all this stuff down. It gives you very simple access to how you can connect and how you can engage and how you can enjoy being a part of creating the next Austin here in the Bluegrass. I want to pull real quick something that you said. I think you kind of glossed over it. The idea that we can have digital natives here, or you talked about the people on the sales folks as road warriors. Central Kentucky, Lexington is actually, I think it's 5 hours away from half the US's population. And that's by car. You can get down to Nashville really quick. You can get to North Carolina. You can get up to Chicago. I'm actually going to Chicago this weekend with the kids on break. It's really remarkably central, not only to Kentucky, but to a large population set. And of course we have aircraft. We have an airport here that'll take you all over the place. So if you're from out of state and you didn't realize that, Kentucky's pretty amazing. The Central Kentucky area is pretty well connected for all of your needs there. Well, that's amazing. So TAB, who are you looking for to join TAB, or who should be thinking, man, is this for me? Is this not for me? Who's a great connection at TAB?
I'm just going to say anyone listening to your show could say that they are a good fit for joining TAB. So we're going to just start there, and then let's get a little bit more specific. So the individual who is a remote employee who has maybe living in Central Kentucky and doesn't have other devs outside of their company that they know, they should join Tab.
Yeah.
If we have somebody who started their own business and it is working in any sort of the tech sector. So I just met about 5 or 6 different people who just got grants from the city building their biotech company.
Yeah.
This is a good fit for those people. If you are running a team, you have a group of tech professionals that you're running a team, this would be a good place for you. If you're some of our board members, and if you think that you're at the same level as Alltech and APAC Software and Rubicon and 13 Layers, this is your home. This is where you belong. And so I'd say that any of those different positions and places, this would be a good place for you. If you want to affect tech, this is the place for you.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, you can be a small guy, you can be a big guy. Everybody fits in Tab, and we're all helping each other
Yes.
create that ecosystem that is world class. Yeah, no, I love it. I also loved how you talked about that tech is not just computer stuff, but tech is bio, it's ag, it's pharmaceutical. There's an amazing amount of tech verticals here in the Central Kentucky area. They're supported by the government. They're supported by the universities. It's really kind of a cool little incubator. Even retail, excuse me. I actually have a lot of friends that are in the retail spaces, and Lexington is a big enough, it's a big enough city that it behaves like a big city, but it's small enough that you can try something and not get too embarrassed. I know that Target, for instance, which is not yet part of Tab yet, Target and Kroger pilot a whole bunch of their new retail technology here to see how it would work in a larger population set. And if it works in Lexington, then they take it and they broadcast it to other areas. So it's already a great incubator space to kind of poke around and find the right fit. And Tab is just going to benefit that more. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to one of those things that you said, about all these different verticals. And I just wanted to kind of follow up. So this wasn't just, hey, I see this down the street and I see this down the street. The city brought in somebody to kind of study the different industry sectors in the Lexington area. Part of the plan that you discussed earlier, they really wanted to be very mindful and focused whenever they were going to be doing this. And so we had a wonderful consultant come in who knows Lexington, knows Central Kentucky, and was able to dive into all of the different pieces and parts. And one of the things that company, Econ Leadership, did is they said, your tech, all of your different tech verticals have the potential to grow, but they will not without intentional support. And so that was something that came out a couple of years ago. And all the big kind of leaders around here were like, yeah, that's great. What do we do now? And so that was also one of the things that really plunged us to say, if we want to be the next anything, or if we just want to be the future better version of ourselves, then we have to have purposeful effort put into this. And we want to pay attention to it. And we want to be mindful as we're pouring into this area. And so they called out biotech and ag tech as specific verticals that we're really in a great place to grow. But they said the whole tech industry here in Lexington has the potential to grow as long as we're paying attention to it. And so that's one of my challenges and kind of focus areas is how are we going to pour intentional support into this and pay attention to it. Another study that they did showed that we are at about 60% of the tech employment that we should be in a city of our size. So if you're thinking about that, if we had that extra 40% of people in this tech industry, that'd be about 3,000 people. That'd be 3,000 high paying jobs that we could have here in Central Kentucky if we poured some effort into it. And so that's what Tab is here supporting as well, is how can we pull these people together and pull these industries together to pour in so that we can get those 3,000 new jobs? How can we get that place where we can grow those high wage, high tech jobs?
I love it. I love it. So tell people, how can they get involved? What's the best way for them to get involved?
Great. Thank you. So the website is up on the page right now, tabky.org. as Drew said earlier, like I would love for people to kind of poke around and see an area of interest. When you're thinking through, where do I want to pour in? Where do I want to get involved? Not just not just here's the meetups that I want to attend and here's the meetings that I want to be in, but where do I want to pour back in? So I want you to think through that, and then go check out our membership page. And so we have a number of different membership types. So if you are a job seeker or you're a student at one of our amazing institutions around here, we want you to join for free. We want you to be part of our membership where you are getting information and you're seeing the job postings that we're putting out there. If you are an individual, so maybe you're the only person from your company here, like we have people from Spotify and we have people from Meta and we have people from all sorts of different large and small organizations. They might want to have an individual membership that they or their company pays for the professional development. That's a $99 membership fee. We want all of our education partners to be in here with us and pouring into and giving us knowledge, and where we are able to give them feedback and support going forward as well. So we have an education membership, we have a government membership, and we have small and large business memberships as well. So as we're looking into those, of course, all of those different levels have a couple of different pieces and parts of access. We're really mindful of making sure that we're providing the support that is necessary. And also, you mentioned earlier, we're kind of still in our infancy. We have a kind of a long history, but right now we're really doing a lot of these kind of startup pieces. We're looking for some foundational members. We're looking for some companies that want to say, I want to pour all in and I want to help guide the future of tech in Central Kentucky. And so if your company is community focused like that, if your company is willing to kind of put in some time as well as the funding for that, we want to have your voice be part of the future of Central Kentucky and tech.
I love it. So yeah, I'm going to double down on that request. Listen, if you're a startup founder, or if you are a large organization or a medium-sized organization, you need to connect with the tab. The price is super low. The connection is amazing. Just think about one connection that you might meet at one of those meetups or at a board position. Join the board. Think about what that could do for you personally and for the ecosystem here in Lexington. It's an exciting time to be in Lexington in tech. I'm super excited about you, Mackenzie. We are running out of time on the show here, so I'm going to play a little bit of closeout music to let you just pop in one or two more thoughts, and then we will close out.
Perfect.
All right. And that was Mackenzie Hanes with the Technology Association of the Bluegrass. Reach out to them and find out how you can get plugged in. And with that, we are out.